Speaking of the Tahl, the Tahl have a saying about children of our age: the boys grow upward, but the girls grow up. I was gonna bring up the Tahl in last episode, but I held off because we're obviously covered enough. But I think the Tahl might be the singers that they mention when they talk about the Chandrian fear, the singers, the scythe, and the Amir. Like, who keeps you safe from the singers, scythe, and Amir? I think the Tahl might be the singers. So we get.
Now, what are you talking about, Dan? You say the Tahl.
Yeah, so like they say, like in that little part right there, they say the Tahl, Tahl, Tahl. The Tahl have a saying about children of our age: the boy grows upward, but the girl grows up. There's numerous mentions of the Tahl. So like one of the big ones is in book 2. That's really the only mention you get in book 1. But in book 2, there's a scene where Simon and Will and Kavoth are hanging out together, and they're talking about where they'd like to go if they had the opportunity. And so Simon goes, where would you go? Simon pursued his point doggedly. For adventure. I thought for a moment quietly. I guess I'd go to Tallenwald, I said. Among the Tahl, Willem asked. They're a primitive nomadic people from what I've heard. Technically speaking, the Dimaru are nomadic people, I said dryly. I heard a story once that said the leaders of their tribes are not great warriors, they're singers. Their songs can heal the sick and make the trees dance. I shrugged. I'd go there and find out if it was true. Then we also get mention of them in his story about the guy with the ass that falls off. Guy with the screw.
Yeah.
He's like, when he's like looking,
yeah,
story. It's great. And he's like, he went to the Arcanist at the university thinking if anyone would know about the screws and their workings, they would. But the anarchists didn't know. The boy followed the road over the storm wall to ask the witch women of the Tahl, but none of them could give an answer. And then the only other mention we get of the Tahl is from Pintha, when Kavoth is asking, when they are talking about like sexually transmitted diseases, STDs, she goes like, if someone gave one to me, she gestured disgust, brushing at the front of her shirt in the first piece of Adim hand talk I'd ever learned from Tempe. Then I would make the long trek over the mountains to the Tahl and to be cured of it. Even if the trip should take 2 years and bring no money to the school, none would think the least of me for it. And so we get these mentions of the Tahl, and it's always mentioned that they got these healing powers with singing, and there's mentions of singing and magic associated with them multiple times. So I think that might be who the singers are. Could be not just that it's people singing songs and just minstrels. It could be specifically there's something to do with this magic of Tallenwald, the people of the Tahl that have some kind of powers that are dangerous for the Chandrian.
That's interesting. So this ties into the Ilishnots sympathy. I mean, we've kind of touched on all these. Yeah, you like that? I need to dig that one. Sigildry. I mean, it's another access or medium of sympathy, right? Or it could be.
Yeah.
But I hadn't made that connection because we talked about the singer scythes, whatever. I didn't think much about the Tahl here, but yeah, that's.
Yeah, obviously it's tough to put together just off of that line in the book, you gotta, and then you gotta just kind of, they're just mentioned in these offhand comments where, like, you gotta really be paying attention and kind of collect them all and put them all together to kind of think that they even might have significance. What were you gonna say, Fitz?
Well, so I had not put that together, but now that you say that, it brings back to me. My thinking was that the Chandrian didn't like singing, whereas it actually turned out to be that it wasn't the singing, it was the fact that people were saying their names and telling stories about them. It wasn't the singing at all. And from what you're saying, it seems like it's kind of maybe a very quality red herring that Rothfuss has put in there to make you think that it's the singers, and the reason why Kavoth is, doesn't allow singing at the inn and so on and so forth, but actually it's not that at all.
No, it could be. I mean, it could still be that, but it also could be that the singers have some magical power with the ability to sing. And we get a sense of that with Kavoth, with his musical ability when he's playing music, when he's playing a leaf turns and that kind of stuff. It seems magical.
Yeah, I think
so. There could be something magical about singing, and maybe he has some of that in him.
Yeah, I think we actually will get to that in the coming chapters just here, but yeah, he's tapping into that, and I think that's a threat to the Chandrian. And we talked about last episode how it seems like their names being named is the biggest threat to them. That's what it seems, as far as I can tell. That seems to be what Haliax is most fearful of.
Yeah, and it's part of Celatos's curse. Is like your name, will torment you or something along those lines. So something to do with their names is obviously a problem. But then the singers, the Scythe and the Emir, there might be something to the singers, and it also might be that Kavoth's seeming magical ability with his music, and that his troop was killed because of the song Arladin was singing. Maybe Arladin maybe he started out with the Tahl. Maybe he's a child of the Tahl that became a Rue. Maybe he's just got that same type of ability. Maybe he doesn't realize he has that kind of magical power in his songs, or maybe he keeps it close to his vest that he has a little bit of magical ability. But it might be that Arladin has a similar prowess as what the Tahl are rumored to have. Could be that as well.
Well, and we get a sense, at least the way that I'm making a connection here, we get a sense of this ability, and I've had it before when I've listened to music where you kind of can be entranced. And Elodin has that. He's not singing, but when he speaks, the whole room just gets like absorbed with this embodiment of what he's doing. Whether it's naming or what it is. So I could see an interconnectedness there, which, I guess you could see why the Chandrian would be threatened by that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there might be some kind of magical ability with singing, and Arladin might have had it. Kavoth seems to have some kind of magical ability, at least with playing music on his lute. So might be something to it. I don't think there's enough to go on in the first two books to really hash it out, but it's something to watch for. I think I think we'll learn who the singers are in the third book. I don't know if Kavoth's going to go there, but I think we'll have a better idea of why they fear the singers by the third book.
You guys get the sense that the third book's going to have to be like 2,000 pages.
I hope it is.
To sew everything. I know. I'm saying though.
He says it's going to be shorter.
The story.
He says it's going to be shorter than A Wise Man's Fear.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's going to be shorter than 2. All right. Well,
yeah. But 2 is super long. It's 1,000 pages. But
yeah.
So I've been reading 2 again, and I just getting into it. I'm like, so because I remember there's so much that happens, and I'm still, I still haven't gotten to, well, whatever. We don't need to go there now, but yeah, he does a lot, man. He better not disappoint us. There better be a lot of Grey Dalsenti, or I'm going to be very disappointed. Yeah. And I want to hear more about Periel's Poontang and how it fits, and I can do it better.
It fits like a glove, man. Fits like a glove.
Just like Fitz. You guys are right.